I thought would be useful would be to say something about China because it's happening now and make some parallels with here, which sounds a bit far-fetched, but it isn't. So with China, these events in China since last Saturday-ish are seismic. They're not on the scale of Tiananmen Square in 1989, but they're seismic nonetheless, because for the first time in 30 years, people are saying, down with the leader. Get rid of the Communist Party government. These are really major events to have the confidence to do that. And I think the question of confidence is vital. So how does it start? It starts with major grievance, but a grumble at the base of society about the zero COVID strategy that is completely connected to Xi Jinping's position. So he identifies with it. And what does it mean? It means long lockdowns all over the country, which has had terrible impact on people's lives and livelihoods, and yet produces the 5 biggest days of infections in the last 5 days. It's not working as a strategy, but people are locked down. And one of the consequences of that lockdown is that 12 people die in a block of flats because they're locked in, and the fire brigades won't go in there and so on. So this then produces an enormous upsurge of anger, which is already there at the base of society. Next question, though, seems to me, is because we've got these Orientalist perspectives on China, how did they organise in 12 major cities a response to that crisis in Xinjiang, in Urumqi, in the capital of Xinjiang? 12 big cities had big demonstrations. And here we have to take away our Orientalist view that everybody's oppressed and they don't talk to each other. There is that. It is the most surveillance society in the world. Half the world's CCTV is in China, and probably half of that is in Xinjiang, where the Muslim Uyghur minority live. But they did organise, and there's a parallel here with what the women did 3 years ago in the Me Too movement that went global, as we know, just before the Black Lives Matter movement. There was the impact of that in China was phenomenal. We don't hear about it very much. Towards the end of 2019, the Young Communist League, the youth wing of the government with its 90 million members, not the government, the party, produced a new, what do you call it, a mascot or an avatar, a little couple, a young teenage couple. She was called Beautiful Land. I don't know what he was called, Large Muscles or something, rather, you know. And this was launched one morning by the Young Communist League, all very soft at the edges, soft focus, lovely colours. Within 4 hours, it had been removed because hundreds of thousands of women had tweeted in response to this the following sort of thing. Well, Beautiful Land, that was it. Translated, by the way. It wasn't that. Mandarin. Beautiful Land. Does your boss pinch your arse when you're standing in the window? Beautiful Land. Does your retail value as a wife go down when you get to 30 and you're a bit overage? Dear Beautiful Land, do you get smaller portions in the dinner at your works canteen than the men because they're more important? This, hundreds of thousands of these tweets, and the Communist Party took it down. Now what does that say? Firstly, that women felt the confidence to do it despite the social media surveillance. And B, that they're not, even though they're not organised, there is no obvious women's movement, they did it nonetheless. And I think let's bring it back to home. We've had 3 days of strike. We have I was going to say privilege, not a bloody privilege, there's a lot wrong with privilege theory. We have the advantage, I was going to say, of using a megaphone. Most of those demonstrations in China did not use megaphones, some did, because it draws attention to people. The AI camera stuff, people are fearful about being recognised and so on. We don't have to face that. We could use a megaphone if we needed one, but some of us don't need one. But what we do have is a free movement, a movement on the offensive, linking with other units, and we should draw strength from one of the most oppressive regimes in the world, generating an opposition. It will go in rivulets. Rosa Luxemburg wrote a marvellous little pamphlet 100 years ago, it's still very relevant, called The Mass Strike. And she talked about mass strikes as being confluences of smaller things, and then they split again. And in that process, they might throw up all sorts of weird and wonderful ideas about what we want, whether we want it, how do we get it, and so on and so forth. But it keeps coming back together, and we're in a very opportune moment. If we can put pressure on our bureaucrats to say, we've had 2 days and 1 day just before Christmas, you've now held us in abeyance till January, shouldn't have done that, but never mind, let's make the next lot count. But you, bureaucrats, need to talk to the RMT, the CWU, the Fire Brigades Union, the nurses. Who was it this morning? Ambulance drivers this morning on today's news of balloting, and fire brigades. We can bring this together and put real pressure on. We may have success. We hope China has success. And the last thing to say is, after 1989 and the Tiananmen Square massacre, I recall being at a public meeting and being brought to tears by the final words. And the final words were these: we're part of China and China's part of us. And that we should remember. We're all fighting the same battles, slightly different, but we've got the strength to do it together. So let's now go and have the rally.
How much of a surplus is there? 3.4 billion! 3.4 billion! Alright, we've got UCU in this building. We've got negotiators in this building. They need to hear you say, how much of a surplus is there? We've got some text here for you to read. When I say how much of a surplus is there, please, if you can, say 3.4 billion. How much of a surplus is there? 3.4 billion. How much of a surplus is there? 3.4 billion. How much of a surplus is there? 3.4 billion. How is it made? How is it made? How is it made?
On our back, on our labor.
fight.